What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast where we talk everything sports. This is Work the Crowd. As always, I'm here with Jacob Klucas, the guy who only likes lemon pepper chicken wings, kind of a little bit. So the reason I asked you that question before we started was because I'm smoking a bunch of chicken today on the smoker.
Nice.
So I'm making...
Okay, well,
Three different
while we're
flavors.
doing that, I know I saved it for last, but let's go ahead and start off with the question of the week. All right.
Oh gosh, how
All
do
right,
chicken
since we're on
wings
the,
lead
it's
into
it's
this?
on a food topic, so that's why
Okay.
we're gonna stick to this. Okay.
Okay.
It brought up by Barstool. They talked about it on, I think it was Good Morning Barstool when they first did it. Maybe I could be wrong on that. Either way. All right, Doug. I want you to picture yourself. You're at a game, right? Football, basketball, whatever game you want to imagine yourself at. All right, you're like, I'm hungry. I want a snack. Now, I know you're not one really to eat at a game either, like in the stadium, but imagine you're like, I need a snack. You go and get yourself a soft pretzel. Okay.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes and visualizing.
What dipping sauce is your go-to for a pretzel?
This is an easy one for me. This is one of the grainy mustards.
Ooh.
I will do that over a cheese sauce or anything.
So I flip-flop because it just depends on my mood, because I'm a big mustard guy. Love mustard. So mustard on a pretzel is just chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
But it also just depends, because it just depends on what the place is not. It just depends on the place's cheese. If the cheese is a really good nacho cheese cut, then I could see myself going nacho cheese. But
it's not even nacho cheese for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine's beer cheese.
Okay.
I'm gonna do cheese. It's gonna be a beer cheese.
Okay.
With
but just a cheese, like, it just depends, because some people's cheese, it's just either a basic cheese, or sometimes it can have a little bit of spice to it. So it just really depends on the cheese. I believe Big Cat, when they talked about this, picked honey mustard as one, which I'm a big honey mustard guy. But if I'm gonna go mustard on a pretzel, I'm going straight mustard, regular.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The poppy seed, like grainy mustard.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. But honey mustard, that's like for a chicken tender for me.
Yeah, but I've had honey mustard on a pretzel. It's very good. But yeah, so there you go. There's your food for the week.
You guys tell us.
Yeah.
What would you pick with a soft pretzel?
Do you like lemon pepper wings? Let's start off with that one. Do you like lemon pepper wings? And then what is your sauce of choice for a pretzel?
Well, we're gonna try some lemon pepper wings today. We're gonna see. I go back and forth on them too, but I've this seasoning I'm letting them kind of brine in or marinate in a little bit is pretty good. So we'll see. Also, here's another one. You know what? We'll save it for another one. I'll save it for another podcast. We'll save it for next week.
Okay.
I'll write it down.
All right. Well, as we said, jam-packed episode kind of today with a lot going on. So let's start off with college football this week, because this was a big week for college football. A lot of key games. This was just a big weekend in sports, and was supposed to be a big weekend in sports, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start off college football. Like we said, we kicked off Friday with 2 electric college football games Friday night. First one in the ACC, Virginia and Florida State, that went to double OT with Virginia pulling off the upset over Florida State. I mean, what a game.
It was a great game.
What a game.
And it might be one of the best field storming the fields that I've ever seen. I think they actually killed a player.
One of the best and one of the most dangerous.
That's a joke. But yes, you're right. It was dangerous.
I mean, yeah, they were allowing security's got to get a little bit. I'm not saying I'm not against field storming. I'm not. I'm for it 100%. It's what makes college sports. But we got to do better security to make sure players are not going to be at risk. I mean, it's not even just the Florida State receiver that was on the ground. That Virginia player was still on the ground. Like, we're talking 2 players potentially getting trampled by thousands of people running onto the field. And luckily no one got hurt. But just the thought of it, I mean, and it goes back to even like over 10 years ago now, obviously. But when Watford hit the shot at Indiana against Kentucky, that, like, the only thing that made me the most mad outside of losing from that was the fact that my guy was on the ground after contesting the shot, and fans are storming the court and he's still on the ground. Like, let's do a little bit better job making sure player safety is taken care of first.
So
But
I think
where they say that they could have done better, if you watch that game, those Virginia guys, those Virginia fans were already making their way towards the field with like 4 minutes left in the game.
right.
You got to stop that. That's what you got to stop. You got to stop. You can't let them just do that with that much time left in the game. So
It's hard though with the design of some of the stadiums and courts or however, whatever. It's hard to control. I mean, you can't have. I mean, there's 50,000 people at these stadiums. Y- I mean, what 1,000 security guards aren't going to stop these people from.
I'm just saying there's got to be a better way to come about. There just has to be.
I think it's design of the stadiums. Like they have to build stuff that deters the fans from wanting to storm.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously they try to put in all these like fines for the schools for storming fields. That
Fans
shit
don't give a
doesn't mean
shit about
nothing.
that.
They don't care about that.
They know those universities make a shit ton of money. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. So, and then we got the infamous also the fan that flipped off Tommy Castellanos on his way, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, yeah.
But so there was that. And then we got another great game that nobody, I think by the time everybody either went to sleep or just forgot about, we got TCU and Arizona State Friday night as well. And that was a great game. Arizona State pulling out a win, 27-24 over number 24 TCU. So Arizona State trying to get back into the swing of things after losing a couple weeks ago to Mississippi State. So they're slowly but surely climbing themselves back into it. And then we had the great slate of games yesterday. You know what? I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. All them people that said that the Buckeyes were in trouble, you're stupid.
Who said they were in trouble?
You're stupid. There were a lot of people that picked Washington in this game.
What?
And I will say, I did think that I thought this game was going to be close until the fourth quarter, and then Ohio State would break away. But Ohio State dominated this game from start to finish. And Washington has a trio of a good quarterback, good running back, good wide receiver. So, and their offense was, I believe, second in the country in scoring this year so far. So they had a very good offense. So in saying that, let's talk about Mr. Matt Patricia. All the years of, saying Belichick assistance doesn't pan out. And granted, Patricia didn't pan out as a head coach in Detroit. But I think we're starting to see maybe Patricia played a bigger role in that Patriots dynasty than people are giving credit for. Because, and when I say that, let's take a look at this, Doug. So in the two games, Ohio State has played against formidable opponents, okay? The Texas game and then Washington. That defense allowed 7 points to Texas, 336 total yards, 170 passing yards, 166 rushing yards. They were 0 for 2 in the red zone, 5 for 14 on third down against Texas. Or Texas was against this defense. And then against Washington yesterday, 6 points, 234 total yards, 73 passing yards, 61 rushing yards. Washington was 2 for 3 in the red zone with the 2 field goals. And then they were 1 for 11 on third down.
Whew. That's a tough stat.
This defense is actually, like, all the years of saying Ohio State has been carried by the offense. And by the way, if you all didn't know Julian Sayin was a pretty damn good quarterback, I think you know now. The offense is starting to find its groove a little bit. But this defense is what's carrying this team. And I think it's been such a long time since I could actually say an Ohio State defense is carrying Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, the rest of the nation is in trouble because the offense was always going to be there. Julian Sayin looked pretty good yesterday, too.
Well, yeah, and we had said, even if they don't figure it out here soon, eventually with Ryan Day, they are going to eventually figure it out. So if your problem right now with Ohio State is the offense, you're sitting in pretty good hands.
Yeah. And then Lamar Jackson had 17 carries for 80 yards.
Man is taking over the starting reps.
He's a freshman?
True freshman.
Wow. Good for him.
True freshman. I mean, dare I say, best quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it looked like Jeremiah Smith had 8 catches, 81 yards, and a tutty.
Yep.
I
mean, Sayan was automatic.
200. Yeah, he was 208, two tutties, and 88.9 QBR.
And that's the thing.
22 for 28.
Yeah. We don't even need him to be a CJ Stroud or anything like that for right
don't.
now.
Don't turn the ball over.
He'll eventually, I think, get to that point where he can start slinging it across the field like CJ and all them and be fine. But with this defense, literally all you have to do is just, like you said, not turn the ball over.
It's a long season. There's a lot of football.
For a development of a quarterback like him, that's great. So, and we'll find out a little bit more about Ohio State in the coming weeks. They play Minnesota next week at home, and then they go at Illinois, at Wisconsin, and then they're back at home against Penn State. So we'll get to see a little bit more what Julian's saying, and then these Buckeyes in general are all about. But I guess I forgot to pull this up when we were doing this. Hello. Is this going to work? Thank you. All right, so this was last week. Not a great week last week for picking games, or this past week, I should say. So we talked about the Florida State, Virginia. We talked about TCU, Arizona State, Ohio State, Washington, Bama, Georgia, electric last night.
That was a great game.
But I told you, I don't know what it is. Alabama has Kirby Smart's number. It doesn't seem it matters if Nick Saban's there, if Kalen DeBoer's there. They have their number. Illinois did beat USC barely yesterday. I was a little bit shocked by that, but Illinois came back strong after getting absolutely punched in the mouth by Indiana the week before. Ole Miss, LSU, listen, don't fuck Lane Kiffin's daughter.
Do we think that's real?
So part of me, I think it is, but part of me feels like Lane Kiffin kind of egged it on, and just go public this week. It's okay
for the game,
content.
I mean, yeah, why not?
But yeah, Ole Miss gets a big win. Trinidad Chambliss, I think he's won himself the job for the rest of the year. Auburn, A&M. I know last week originally on this sheet, I did have Auburn over A&M, but I did tell you I was liable to switch that game, and I did switch it midweek. So did pick A&M over Auburn. Oregon, Penn State. I mean, what can I tell you? James Franklin just can't win a big game if his life depended on it.
Well, that's winning overtime, right?
Yep.
So,
and they did come. Close. They were down 17-3 at one point, came back, tied it up.
I mean, yeah, I had Oregon in this game too. That I believe what you're saying about James Franklin just is not a clutch coach. He can't win these big games. And Penn State, now let's be honest. Also, we've also been saying this all year. Penn State hadn't played anybody, and for them to be ranked 4, or was that right? 4, 3. It's still a little bit much. So this goes to show. Now Oregon's a really good team, and Oregon should be in the top 4 now. But
yes, but let me tell you, as good of quarterbacks as Dan Lanning has had between Bo Nix for 2 years, and then Dylan Gabriel last year, Dante Moore might be better.
He's looking pretty good.
So this is James Franklin at Penn State, okay? So James Franklin against top 5 opponents while at Penn State is 1-15. Against top 10 opponents, he's 4-21. Against top 25 opponents, he's 15-30. And against Michigan and Ohio State, he's 4-17.
Great job. He's doing great.
So
he should go back to being a comedian.
I mean, he might have a better chance coaching this team.
Maybe.
Miller Moss in Louisville managed to pull out a win yesterday at Pittsburgh. Doug was going through a roller coaster of emotions throughout that game.
I was ready to bench Miller Moss in that first quarter. I mean, he looked horrible in that first quarter. But
listen, I will say we said the first couple weeks, we're not sure if Brom truly trusts Miller Moss yet. I would almost say having Miller Moss throw 51 times, I think they've instilled trust into him.
Yeah, he threw 50. He did. He did have a horrible pick, but he took care of the ball after that. And he ended up he was 330. He had 339 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's a pretty good showing on the road. Now, granted, the run game was pretty much non-existent. Pittsburgh did a pretty good job stopping it, but we also had some injuries.
Isaac Brown still banged up. Duke Watson rolled his ankle in the first quarter.
Which he came back and he was actually our leading rusher.
Yeah, and then Keywan Brown just didn't play at all.
Keywan Brown was hurt too. So our top 3 running backs were really pretty much like hurt. And 2 of them decided to give it a go. And they did what we needed to at the end there to, put the game away. But Pittsburgh, I mean, they benched their starting quarterback. Eli Holstein got benched in the fourth quarter because he couldn't take care of the ball. So Louisville's defense did step up. They made plays when they needed to, which has been the story of this season, really, for Louisville. And I guess at the end, Brom drew up some play calls to get us in the end zone. We did get our top tight end back, which was nice. And he had that late game touchdown, Nate Kriski. So as long as this next week we got Virginia, who just knocked off Florida State, and it is a home game. So let's hopefully take a week and get everybody to somewhat health for a pretty big game next week. Who probably will be it'll be 2 ranked teams if I had to take a guess.
Potentially.
We'll see. They hate us, so they might not put us in there.
And then Kentucky got throttled by South Carolina.
Throttled.
Listen, I'm done watching Kentucky football for the rest of the year until they announce Mark Stoops is gone. I can't deal with it anymore.
Can we talk about that player getting absolutely obliterated at the end of the first half?
I mean,
did you see that? Oh my God! They were trying to do the hook and ladder, and yeah, that lineman who was going after the quarterback or linebacker came back and just took this dude out. It was sucked to see for the Kentucky guy, but for a football fan, it was a nice.
So, but yeah, until Mark Stoops is gone, I can't watch it anymore. It's such a bad product that I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But so now moving on to this upcoming week of college football. Only picked a couple of games, not as many great games this upcoming week as last week. Kentucky, Georgia. I don't think this game will actually truly be as close as what I'm predicting right now, but Georgia wins easily. Vanderbilt, Alabama could get very interesting because it's at Alabama, but is Alabama going to be riding high off a win against Georgia and not be looking at Vanderbilt, or are they going to be looking at Vanderbilt and going, listen, we lost to this team last year, we're not doing it again?
I don't know. Diego Pavia, though, is going to have something to say.
So we'll see. Ohio State, Minnesota. I am picking, obviously, Ohio State.
What?
Texas and Florida. I mean, 2 of the most overrated quarterbacks in college football playing against each other on Cartoon Network. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, Texas, I think, obviously wins that one. Miami and Florida State. I think this one could get very interesting. Yeah. I feel like Miami, yes, against Notre Dame, but I just don't know. I feel like Florida State's got because Florida State didn't play bad against Virginia.
Well, I was going to bring up, I was going to break that game down a little bit and see what you think Florida State did wrong to lose that game, or did Virginia just play that well?
Well, Virginia played very well,
and it was a home game for Virginia too, so it did help.
Yeah, home game for Virginia. That makes a big deal. Now, listen, we're also talking about a completely different scenario. If the fucking Florida State wide receiver just catches the ball that Tommy threw perfectly between 2 defenders, if he just holds on to the ball, we're talking about a completely different game here.
He was trying to catch that thing like a hot potato.
But I think they got to get for whatever reason, it seems like this Florida State offense has gotten a little less creative as the weeks have gone on since the Bama game. I think we saw a lot of, I don't want to say trick plays, but a lot of misdirection and a lot of different things against Alabama, and we haven't seen that since. And I think they got to get back to that because they do have some speed. They've got a lot of speed. Obviously, Tommy is proven to be a very good quarterback this year. Now, he did have 2 bad interceptions against Virginia, and I think that also hurt. But my other thing is, if you're, again, going back to the offense, Florida State picked off Chandler Morris 3 times. You can't have the quarterback turn the ball over 3 times on the opposite side and you not win this game. So defense has got to step up just a little bit more. Again, you got to see a little bit more out of Florida State. And maybe this was just one of those cases where Florida State didn't really look at Virginia as a serious opponent, looking ahead to Miami a little bit, for this game. But this is the other thing. And I know earlier this year we had Notre Dame, or they had Notre Dame, but it was a home game. I'm not sure if I trust Carson Beck in a big game on the road just yet.
Okay.
He performed well against Notre Dame, but it was a home game. So I got to see him do it on the road because, again, we watched it going back to this Bama-Georgia game. Georgia, he played well, but he still came up with bad picks last year to cost him the game against Alabama. I mean, he made some really good throws. Don't get me wrong. Really good throws. He brought them back down 28-0 last year, but still lost. And, there's also a reason they were down 28-0 at some point. So, I don't know. Gut's telling me Florida State comes back, gets a big win against Miami this week. And then Louisville, Virginia, I think this will be a back-and-forth, high-scoring game. But I am going to go with Louisville at the end of the day to win this game.
That one's going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, though, if Chris Bell and Colin Lacey have games like they did last week, I mean, Chris Bell against Pittsburgh was 10 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, if they play well and Miller Moss takes care of the ball, I think we're in any game this season with that. Our defense has played well enough. It seems like we're making adjustments after, the first few series, and they're dialing up what they need to win the games. They're putting themselves in good spots. So as long as, Miller Moss can, that Ho guy, whatever, the Emmanuel's brother or whatever, he kept talking about this whole game against Pittsburgh that Miller Moss hasn't completely learned the offense yet. And I don't know whether to believe that or not, or if he's just, obviously he could just be speculating. But if he hasn't really learned the offense yet, then I think we've yet to see the best out of Miller Moss. I was kind of thinking about that. But, I mean, like you said, he did throw 51 times. I don't know. We'll see. Like you said, it definitely could be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a battle of who gets more turnovers.
Yeah, it's going to be a turnover game. Who turns the ball over more. All right, so going back to this, I left this up. So this is my top 25 as we stand right now. Now, I know there's going to be a little controversy in between here because people are going to look at some and just be like, whoa, how? So I like to look at it how the playoff committee should look at it. I know we're not in the playoff rankings yet, but we'll get to, and the AP voters are just as bad as the playoff committee. So, but I'm taking your full resume into factor here. So when I look at this, I'm looking at what is your strength of record currently? Where are you ranked in the ESPN FPI? Where are you ranked at in the AP top 25? What's your strength of schedule total for the year? What's your remaining strength of schedule? And all this can be found on ESPN as well. This is all data on ESPN. How well you control the game, and then your average win percentage for your rest of your games. So this is how so when you take all that into consideration, this is who I think are the top 25 teams in the country. I clearly Ohio State's the best team. Oklahoma, I know it too, is kind of a question mark now because of John Mateer being out for at least a month. We don't know how they're going to pan out, and their schedule's brutal while he's gone. But Oregon, A&M. So the one where I was saying there's going to be controversy is Alabama over Miami as well, obviously because Alabama's got to win. But I think that win against Georgia yesterday is so big for them, especially going into the rest of the year. But yeah, and then you see Penn State. That should just tell you where their resume's at, all the way down to 21. I mean, the fact that this team, they're not even, if they were coming off, being in the national championship last year and just losing, I could understand why Penn State would have been ranked as high as they were coming into this year, returning Drew Aller after that. But can we not just take when we rank teams preseason a little bit of history into it and just say to ourselves, hey, Penn State hasn't fucking beaten anybody since James Franklin's been there? I don't know what else we got to get it through people's heads. Penn State, you can't trust them in a big game. And let me tell you, Drew Aller's not an NFL quarterback. All right? I don't know why you thought in a big game situation in overtime, Oregon just scored in double OT, and you decide your best option is to throw the ball in a tight window on the boundary in double coverage. Listen, it's like I said in our group chat last night, the only way I think Drew Aller becomes a NFL quarterback is if he's drafted by the LA Rams and he gets to sit behind Stafford for 2 years and then he gets to play with McVay for his whole career. Outside of that, Drew Aller's not an NFL quarterback to me. But I will say, after watching yesterday, Mr. Ty Simpson has impressed me a little bit.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
I was not impressed after the Florida State game with him. But yeah, he did impress me a lot. And then down here, I have my top 5 Heismans. Fernando Mendoza at Indiana, I think, is the front runner, clear as day. I mean, the dude hasn't thrown a pick yet. Even though yesterday he ruined a lot of people's tickets, running the ball like 40 yards back to take a safety to run the clock out. Yeah, have you seen that?
I didn't watch the very, very end.
Yeah, so they were up 20-13, and to run the clock out, Fernando Mendoza decided to run the ball backwards all the way into the opposing team's end zone and just take the safety and run the clock to 0.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
I mean, it just absolutely obliterated people's tickets.
He did. He got the snap and just ran backwards. Yeah.
Literally just ran backwards.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's only 2 points. So
yeah. So now I think after yesterday's performance against Penn State, Dante Moore secured himself as a Heisman. I think you still have to put John Mateer there until he absolutely misses games, and then because of what he's done so far. Trinidad Chambliss, I think, deserves to be in the Heisman conversations as a backup quarterback. And if you look at his numbers in comparison to what other people have done, I mean, he essentially missed 2 games, and he's still putting up as equal numbers to everybody else. And being with Lane Kiffin, if I'm projecting for the rest of the year, he's going to put up numbers just with Kiffin. And then Diego Pavia, who I think could easily probably launch himself from 5-1 if he beats Bama again. So yeah,
we'll see.
Got a interesting week of college football coming up this weekend. So now moving on, let's something we haven't really talked about on the podcast this year, but today is the official last day of Major League Baseball regular season, and this past week has been electric for the sport of baseball. And because up until Thursday or Friday, I think only 2 teams had clinched a playoff spot officially. And now the entire AL is set for the playoff teams. Now the AL Central division is still up for grabs, and the AL East is still up for grabs between the Blue Jays and Yankees. Guardians and Tigers still up for the AL Central. They are tied. Guardians 87-74, Tigers 87-74. But the interesting thing about the Guardians is, as of, let me see if this is, yep. All right. So this is what the wild part, and this is why I love baseball so much. As of September 10th, Doug, the Guardians were sitting at 74-71 and were 9.5 games back from the division. And then as of September 3rd, they were tied. I mean, they're still tied today.
Damn. Detroit was horrible.
This is why I love baseball. Last 10 games for the Guardians are 7-3. At one point, they were 9-1 in their last 10. And have managed to just pull it all the way back. Now, over on the NL side, all teams except for the last wild card spot has been locked in, which is going to come down to the Reds and Mets.
Yeah, I was just looking at the standings, and they're tied right now.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the Reds and Mets today. The Reds play the Brewers in Milwaukee, and the Mets play the Marlins in Miami, which doesn't necessarily bode well for Cincinnati.
No, it does not.
But yeah, I mean it's been an electric week of baseball so far, and I think it would have been criminal for us to have not at least today. So
yeah,
moving on
postseason baseball is always
fun. Moving on to the NFL side of things, real quick, Doug, before we get into the NFL recap, real quick. As a secondary Ravens fan, is it time for the Ravens to let go of Harbaugh? Is Harbaugh going to need to walk for Lamar to run?
How long did it take you to come up with that?
I just did.
That's pretty good. You know, it's not. I don't think it's 100% coaching for why they keep losing. It just seems like it's never their time, right? Always something happens. A player fumbles. You know what I mean? Like, or the players drops
Derrick Henry
the ball.
Fumbling the first 3 games this year is insane.
Right. That's not on Harbaugh. I mean, that's you give it to your fucking 6'2", 3, 245-pound running back, and you win the game against Buffalo if he doesn't fumble. So I don't know if they don't make the playoffs for some odd reason this year or whatever. Yeah, you gotta let him go. Like that's too much. But you make it to another AFC Championship game, and you lose to Buffalo in overtime or something. No, I mean you're there. It's just
but at what point do you have to look at a coach and go, you just can't get us over the hump? Because here's my thing, and this is the only reason why I would say yes, because I've seen it time and time and time again with Harbaugh. That when the Ravens get up, Harbaugh takes his foot off the gas.
He does.
He goes conservative way too much. Well, you got a quarterback like Lamar who can absolutely take the air out of a crowd and everything. You got to utilize that. Like you're up 10, fuck that. Go up 17.
Right.
Don't just run it and be satisfied with being up 10. Like we talked about week 2 where they decided to still throw the ball against the Browns. Do that. That's what you want. Like
that was
it's funny, it's and everything that when we joked about it, but like that's something you got to do sometime.
Yeah. And I see why you're saying
I mean, against the Bills specifically, I feel like you let the Bills back in the game because they went conservative.
You tried to go run the ball. Yeah. I get it. There's two sides of that for sure.
So, I mean, that's where I think the Harbaugh's been with the Ravens for so long. I think there is such a thing as you just need a new voice in the locker room to energize your team.
So, yeah, I see both sides. I mean, you have a once-in-a-generational player, I think, Lamar Jackson, and you can't coach him. He's going to do what you say. You and the coordinators are calling the plays. You got to put him in the best spots, right? That is the goal of coaching. Now, Lamar obviously can do whatever he wants. I mean, based on what the play call is and on the field, and he can audible whatever. But it is, yeah, I think, maybe you're right. Maybe he's just been there too long. And now let's break this down, though, a little bit. I'm sure Harbaugh has a very good relationship with the Ravens owners, majority owner, whoever. It would be very hard for them to get rid of Harbaugh, I think.
Well, of course, it's hard to tell a coach like that you're done.
Now, let's look when his contract's up. I think that's different. You're not going to let him go. You're not going to fire him, right? But let's look.
Or maybe, it's one of those things where, hey, we don't want to necessarily fire you, but do you just want to go out and, essentially quit or announce your retirement, and that way we can do this?
Dang, they're paying him $17 million a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So he just signed an extension in March.
Yeah.
So he's through 2028.
So that's what I'm saying.
So no, they're not getting rid of him.
All right, but so real quick, let's do quick blind ranking for you, okay? I'm gonna give you 5 guys that if
blind ranking.
Yep. If the Ravens did let go of Harbaugh, these 5 guys, who would you want to be the coach of the Baltimore Ravens? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna write.
All right. So the first one, Cliff Kingsbury, the Commanders' offensive coordinator.
I'm gonna put him at 3.
Kingsbury at 3. All right. Number 2, Mike McCarthy, currently a free agent coach, obviously.
Yeah, 4.
All right. Next one, Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator.
We get to keep the Ravens offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to keep Todd Monken with that hire?
Assuming, sure.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 5 for that one.
Okay. All right, next, Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator.
They're playing well this year. I guess I'll have to put him at 2. I feel like you're saving somebody.
All right, so that means number 1, your best option out of the ones I gave you. Your number 1 would be Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's a little trickery you had going on there. That was good.
Yeah, you like that?
I felt like you could switch like Brian Flores and the Chargers with Jesse
Minter.
Yeah, I feel like you could switch those two. I mean,
so for me, if I'm obviously you'd be looking at these, if I rank them, I'd go Brian Flores 1, I'd go Jesse Minter 2, Mike McCarthy 3, Cliff Kingsbury 4, Todd Monken 5. Brian Flores had the Dolphins rolling until they decided to up and just fire him. And now look at what he's doing with Minnesota. You want to completely change the Ravens back to what the Ravens are known for with defense. Brian Flores is your guy.
In the defense, but the defense isn't completely.
The defense is a problem because they can't develop a pass rush.
Well,
they can't get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with my buddy at work. I said, I've never seen a team like the Ravens who have so many big names on the defensive side of the football that just seemingly can't get a stop.
Yeah, and a lot of times that is scheme. I mean, yes, sometimes the offense makes good plays. I mean, that's, better.
In today's game, it's also way harder to play defense in today's game. Because there's way more elements.
There's a lot going on.
But I mean, I get it. Some of them may not be as good as what they used to be, but I know Jair's been out the last couple of games from Baltimore. But, to have guys, like Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Jair, and then just to still struggle on defense.
Yeah.
So, all right, but moving on. We currently have an NFL game going on right now over in Ireland. The Vikings and Steelers, they are in the third quarter, 8 minutes left. Steelers are up 14-6. Interesting thing from this Ireland trip for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you see, Doug, it was announced this morning that Pittsburgh Steelers third-string quarterback Skylar Thompson was jumped and robbed in Ireland on Friday.
Nice. No, I didn't see that. That sucks.
Meanwhile, Roger Goodell wants to continue to go play games overseas.
I mean, that these guys are going to be here. They're worth millions of dollars, U.S. dollars. And yeah, why wouldn't they're going to be targeted? So now, I don't know if that's necessarily the country's fault. Like, they don't play in these countries. I think that's just more security, or he did something stupid and he was wandering around where he shouldn't have been. Like, you got to know as a player, you're going to be targeted in these countries like that. So,
but kind of recapping last week, kind of our weekly reminder that the Colts are going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, man, we beat the fucking Rams today. I'm a firm believer.
120 win over the Titans. Big time win. Last week was just a week of bad special teams. And, I mean, how many field goal blocks did we see last week?
There was a ton.
I mean, you had one in the Browns-Packers game that brought the Browns back to beat the Packers. You had one in the Rams. You had two in the Rams-Eagles games that allowed the Eagles to win. You had one in the Jets-Bucks game, which made the Jets-Bucks game more interesting. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it was a nightmare. And John Gruden actually brought up a good point on Barstool. He said, part of this is a lot of these NFL teams don't actually practice anymore. They do walkthroughs, they watch film, and this is what happens when you don't actually put pads on and go through and actually practice.
They don't practice?
So, I mean, I'm
paraphrasing a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's what Gruden said. I mean, Gruden's like, a lot of these guys, they just don't, because of, like, certain rules with the NFL, like, you can't practice, like, if you practice, you can't practice over a certain amount of time, like, with pads on and everything. So, like, which we've talked about before, I feel like practice is the biggest reason why we see a downfall with certain sports, because people don't practice like we used to.
Yeah, and that's how you get hurt.
Practice is where you fix a lot of different things. And we wonder why bad teams continue to be bad, because if they're just flat out not practicing, well, no wonder you suck. And yeah, I mean, I get it. Yes, you get hurt in practice, but listen, that's the risk you take playing the game.
Yeah, but no, well, I'm saying people get hurt not in practice. I think they get hurt because they're not practicing.
I mean, yeah, no,
Your
100%.
body is not as conditioned
When you're not if
if you're
your
just doing it
body is
once a
not
week.
acclimated with taking hits throughout the week, how can I expect it to be ready to go on Sunday?
Or just, yeah, right. I mean, yes, they're professional athletes. I get it. But, you got these big guys out there running around. They need to be, their body in general needs to be as conditioned as possible. I get it, though. I mean, I've heard like Travis Kelce talk about it on New Heights. Like, it's like every game is like, or maybe not, maybe it wasn't Travis Kelce. Maybe it was George Kittle on Bussin' with the Boys. He was talking about every game is like I just got in a car accident. Like every Sunday is like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I get why they don't want to practice because you got to have a whole week to freaking recover. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if they're not actually practicing, but at least special teams should be freaking practicing. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, you
doing
wonder
that
why
much.
you have these miscues. This is why those miscues don't happen if you adjust and make it, and practice it during the week.
Yeah, knowing where to block on special teams for a field goal or punt, and then same thing for your snapper, your holder, your kicker.
Well, and also
Is all rhythm.
You go through it, like you said, your kickers. Some kickers, naturally kick a ball lower. So if you know defense, if you know that, or if you know defenses are known to, try to jump the line to do that, you got to practice that.
Yeah. That's film too, though. I mean, you gotta watch that. I mean, kickers can those
You can
guys
watch
can
all
do
the
whatever
film
they
you
want.
want, but if you can't put the product on the field,
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but yeah, the Vikings
practice.
absolutely obliterated the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Isaiah Rodgers may have single-handedly had one of the best defensive performances we've ever seen. 2 pick sixes, had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I mean, he was insane. Steelers beat the Patriots 21-14. We talked about the Eagles and Rams. I mean, the blocked field goal to run back, essentially to secure the win, was electric. Baker, another game-winning drive against the Jets. Commanders with a backup quarterback obliterate the Raiders. Panthers, a surprising 30-0 win over the Falcons. I mean,
Mark the Super Bowl. Panthers, Colts. Here they come.
I mean, yeah. CJ Stroud and the Texans continue to struggle. They lost 17-10 to the Texans. Broncos Chargers was a very good game. We already talked about Chargers are playing so good right now. Seahawks obliterate the Saints, which they won on Thursday night as well against the Cardinals. Bears, I mean, Caleb Williams finally looked like a quarterback last week against the Cowboys. The Niners with a big win. Chiefs finally get their first win on the year against the Giants, who are switching to Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart getting his first start this week. And then we talked about Ravens, Lions already. Well, we didn't talk about it, but that was part of the reason why I brought up the Harbaugh thing with the loss on Monday night to the Detroit Lions 38-30, which again played a big part in, like we talked about, Derrick Henry, another fumble, especially in a big game, crucial spot.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a great day of football ahead of us today. Great games. Colts play the Rams, which we could secure our spot in the Super Bowl with a win over the Rams. Got Ravens, Chiefs, another big time game today. Eagles, Buccaneers in Tampa. And then obviously Micah Parsons returned home to Dallas tonight on Sunday Night Football. So, all right, let's talk about real quick what me and you've been kind of looking forward to talk about, the Ryder Cup.
It's pretty much how it's gone.
I mean, what are we doing? So we've kind of already been talking about this, obviously, the last couple of days. A lot of it is, and we might have overreacted just a tad bit. So let's get this out. The fact of the matter is, we as the USA team in general can't fucking putt. I mean, we've had a couple of crucial putts. Harris English has hit some putts. Cantlay's hit a couple putts. But overall, as a team, we cannot putt. I mean, we've left so many birdies and opportunities and everything on the table because of putting. Scotty Scheffler just can't. I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, you would think we've got Joey Colcuts out there hitting for Scotty Scheffler instead. We've been at a loss for words. And then we go on to Keegan Bradley. I mean, how do you, just from the decision making of the foursomes from Friday to Saturday, How do you watch the foursomes on Friday get obliterated and roll out the same exact teams, except you substitute Cam Young for Justin Thomas?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot. I think there's a lot to unpack with this. The decision to put at least English and Morikawa still back out there for against Rory and Fleetwood was horrible. That's like you're fired. Like what the fuck are you doing? I don't understand that. I'll never understand that decision.
I'll just leave this up here while we're talking for today.
Yeah, but that decision's horrible. Now, the Cam Young decision ended up being pretty good. They were the only one that won in their foursome match,
which was a great decision because Cam Young
right.
was on fire on Friday. So yeah, you feed the hot hand and you let him go.
Yeah, I think you take Morikawa out, who's played on I like Morikawa, but he's played like ass. Okay, English has not played actually that bad. I think if you substitute Morikawa with someone like Sam Burns or
JJ
Spawn, I think that works out better. But the rest, I think you kind of have to roll with. It just sucks that they have great golfers on the European side. And, you're saying we couldn't make a putt. It seemed like when I was watching most of the day yesterday, especially in the foursomes, that it seemed like it always went the Europeans' way with, hey, they're going to make a putt. They have a chance to make a putt. They make the putt. Now we have to make our putt to tie. So the Europeans made putts, and they put pressure on us, and we just weren't coming out ahead. So I think that added pressure got to them. Now you brought up Scotty. Well, I saw somebody say this yesterday, and I firmly believe it because Tiger Woods also did not have great success in the Ryder Cup in foursomes. And this guy, I can't remember his name, so I'd like to give him credit, but I don't remember who he was. It was on Twitter, but he said sometimes the hunters just like to hunt alone. The best hunters like to hunt alone. And someone like Scotty Scheffler and someone like Tiger Woods, who we've been comparing Scheffler to for the past couple of years, is probably the case. And I think today, who plays against Rory today, I think you'll see Scotty Scheffler kind of turn back into the Scotty Scheffler we're normally seeing because everybody plays their own ball. It's just him and Ted Scott out there playing. So I
in
think
that situation though, wouldn't it have been better just to leave him and put him in 4-ball then? Because you're still playing with a teammate, but you're playing your own ball.
You cannot do that. He's the number one player in the world. So he's gonna. You're as a captain, you got to put him out there and say, hey, maybe he figures it out. But it is what it is. Fleetwood and Rory were never going to be beat. I mean, those guys, that's insane. They hit so many good shots yesterday. It was insane.
Well, and that's the other thing I was going to bring up. The outside of putting, the wedge and short iron game for Europe has been way better than US.
It's insane. Yeah. And then,
because there'd be times you'd watch the US, like yesterday, the first couple in the first couple 4-balls, the first couple tee shots for Team Europe went all the way off into the right side of the rough. But their next shots they hit after that are 6 feet from the pin. Meanwhile, USA, who puts, was pretty much for the most part outside of Bryson on Friday, putting balls in the fairway, they just can't do anything with it after that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when you have the Europeans putting a shot, 10 feet or inside 10 feet, you have to match it or there's just your chances severely go down. So it just wasn't our weekend. And I think this also goes to show there should have been some other players in here that weren't on the team. I think someone like Patrick Reed should have been on this team. I think someone like maybe Dustin Johnson should have been on this team, who's probably a good foursome player. And I know Koepka hasn't played great golf, but I still think he should have been on this team. Maybe he should have had a thought because he's a guy that could at one time was the number one golfer in the world, who we know really can play good golf and wants to represent his country. But Yeah, I mean,
another guy, Homa. He was part of the 2020. He was part of the 2023 team and actually played very well in 2023.
Yeah, and I think coming late in the season, he actually was playing some pretty good golf. So yeah, I don't know. It's
And listen, these singles
shoulda,
matchups
woulda,
today,
coulda.
the matchups aren't bad. Like I think the matchups are actually somewhat favorable for the most part.
Fleetwood's gonna destroy Thomas, I think.
I think it's just you're just so far ahead.
It's all match play, right? I hope Justin Thomas doesn't get destroyed, but I think Fleetwood's playing out of his mind right now. Has been for a long time. That's gonna be hard to beat.
I think Cam Young can beat Justin Rose because he's been on fire this week.
He has,
now,
but
Justin Rose can catch fire too.
Justin Rose is a streaky golfer, so
Yes,
if he catches something, he's Cam Young might be screwed. But
correct.
Let's just go down the line here. We'll go down. We'll go down the line. Let's go ahead. We'll say, all right. We already said Cam Young over Rose.
I think because he's been on fire, I think Cam Young can get a win today.
Yeah, Cam Young over Rose.
Fleetwood and loses to, now. Remember, we can't lose 3. Once we lose 3, we're done.
Yeah, so I think Fleetwood beats JT. Unfortunately,
all right.
I think that one's done.
All right, hold on. Let's realistically keep this. I'll write this down. You've got Rose and we're going Cam Young, Fleetwood, and Thomas. We are going Fleetwood. So then you have Fitzpatrick and Bryson.
Look, I'm taking Bryson in this. So he played well yesterday.
Yeah, I the problem is I feel the only issue I have is that if the emotion starts to get to Bryson, I think that might affect him.
I think it'll be fun. I don't disagree, but I think it'll be all right.
All right, and then arguably the matchup of the day, Rory and Scotty.
I'm taking the number 1 golfer in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you have to roll with Scotty for the.
I'm taking Cantlay over Oberg.
Really?
Oh yeah. Again,
Oberg's just been on. He's been on fire this week too.
Really, he played horrible in the foursome match yesterday.
Maybe not so much yesterday, but Friday he was playing really well on Friday.
I'm taking Cantlay over Oberg. Cantlay has played some good golf. I think Schauffele really hurt Cantlay in the foursomes match. Schauffele has not played well. So obviously, the next one.
Yeah.
I'm taking Rahm over Schauffele.
Is going to be over. I'm taking obviously JJ Spawn over Straka.
Yeah, right.
Over Henley and Shane Lowry. I think this is where we could lose it.
Shane Lowry. I disagree. I think Henley can win that.
So you think Henley can beat Shane Lowry?
I do.
I don't know.
You're just watching him in that team aspect, though. I still think Henley was the number. What is he? What we were talking about yesterday? Number 3 golfer in the world.
Yeah, on the world rankings. Yeah.
I mean, Henley can play fucking golf.
Okay. So
you're not in that spot, right? Without playing good golf.
We'll take Henley over Lowry.
That's gonna be. I'm not saying they won't be close. I think that'll be
Griffin.
close.
I think beats Hogard.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Hatton beats Morikawa.
Yeah, that's where we get, because at some point, fucking Morikawa was going to have to step up.
Yeah, and listen, today, let it be today. Please, let it be today.
But yeah, Hatton has also played really well this week.
Burns leading into Ryder Cup has played very well. I think.
Yeah, this is the closest matchup. We might see this one. Yeah, it really could.
Because Robert McIntyre's also played very good golf.
Bobby Mack.
So we'll come back to that for a second. And then English and Hovland. I mean, listen, English has played well all week. All week, the last 2 days. But so I would go English, and then, Burns and McIntyre, which at this point it doesn't really matter, because theoretically if Fleetwood wins, Rahm wins, and then Hatton wins, it's over. But
I mean, look, JT, he was at the top. JT could catch fire. And we all know Fleetwood's great at choking.
And that's the other thing, is that now, granted, his putting since he's been coming back from his injury hasn't been great, but Xander was at the top last year too.
He was.
So, I mean, Xander is capable of playing up to Rahm's, up to Rahm, but
he is. Now, and here, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. A lot of these guys could be just bad team players.
Yeah, and I mean individually,
And
yeah.
the best hunters like to hunt alone. And sometimes that's just the case.
And listen, maybe yesterday, Team Europe chirping at Scotty's caddy maybe wasn't necessarily the greatest thing to do leading
No,
into the day.
it was DeChambeau's caddy.
No, it was Scotty's caddy. DeChambeau got into it. It was Scotty's caddy that was arguing with him.
No. It was not Ted Scott. Ted Scott was arguing with him at walking back. But
yeah, that's
Justin
what I'm saying.
Rose,
That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were talking about on the course.
No.
I
I was talking about on the walk. Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Scott just issued a public apology to Molinari.
Which is fine. But I'm just saying
Ted Scott should have never been involved anyways.
No, he shouldn't have been. But I'm just saying
Bryson did what he was supposed to do.
Poking Ted Scott is also, we talked about before, him and Scotty are a match made in heaven. So maybe poking the bear going into today with singles play wasn't the greatest play, hopefully.
We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it sparked a fire. I will say that this is something I wanted to cover. U.S. fans have been honestly quite bad towards the Europeans.
Yeah.
And I know
they've treated
them damn
this
Eagles,
like a live
them
event.
damn Eagles fans. This isn't football, all right?
They've treated this like a live event.
It's not.
Yeah.
This is, and I get there's a rivalry. We're getting our ass beat. They're trying to get under your skin. But I saw something, a fan threw a drink on Rory's wife, and they're saying like they're calling Lowry a Teletubby, like that. Although I think that's kind of funny, but you can't just say that shit, especially as soon as they're over the ball, you got to shut up. That's just golf, and they're treating it like a live event. They're probably a lot of these people.
Did you see the video that I guess whoever had the mic yesterday, like at 6:30 in the morning when they were trying to rowdy up the crowd for the 7:00 tee time, the announcer, whoever had the mic, was starting up "fuck Rory" chants.
Honestly, though, Rory's a dick. Okay,
no,
I get it.
100%.
I get it.
He's the number one guy that if I had the opportunity on tour, I'd want to punch in the face.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't do this.
Not like this.
No.
You just don't want to give it a bad look, coming back. Bethpage in New York, that's a good place.
You want PGA. I mean, this is what's going to cause PGA events to not want to go back to their ever stuff like that. Not saying that they won't, but I'm just saying you want events like this. Don't take it away. That's why, like we joked, like when Scotty got arrested in Louisville, we were like, great, we'll never have a PGA event again.
Probably.
Maybe that's what we need. Do we need Scotty to go get arrested this morning?
No, we need actually. I'd like the police department in wherever that is in New York. Is it Bethpage, New York?
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually.
I don't know. Wherever that police department is, go ahead and arrest Fleetwood, Rose, Rom, and probably Rory. And I think we'll go.
Farmingdale, New York.
Yeah. I said Philly fans, they're catching strays, but I felt like that's what it's
definitely. It's got a Philly fan.
I feel for that. You know what I mean? That's the way I take it as. Yeah. U.S. fans, let's do better. Okay, this is golf at the end of the day.
So real quick, going back to Morikawa, I was listening to them when they were talking about them yesterday. They were like, out of everybody that's in the field for the Ryder Cup, Morikawa's the worst putter.
Yeah, you know who's second?
Xander.
Yeah. So.
That's also, I mean, Xander's coming off an injury, so I mean, he's kind of struggled with putting ever since then. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, if it's if he's still grimacing off of what from it or whatever, But it would be lovely if we could get 2024 Xander, rolling today.
Yeah, and I'd love for Fleetwood to go back.
You know what? Get Bobby Fairways out there. We need the vibes high. All right.
Yeah.
Do we need Bobby to go out there and shit talk Xander a little bit?
I think we need Phil Mickelson to be our next captain.
That's the one thing. Like I don't know if Mickelson wants that. And I know we joked earlier. Could we get Tiger? I don't think Tiger wants it either.
Tiger don't want it. He don't care.
But let me tell you, the way Morikawa's played, I'd fucking take Tiger Woods right now over Morikawa.
I'll take Phil.
I'd take Phil. I'll take John Daly. I'll take John Daly's one-handed putter over Morikawa's putter.
He's maybe Morikawa. I mean,
it's somebody.
Morikawa's won a U.S. Open now, not in front of fans, but
Yeah.
he has won a U.S. Open.
It was a funny picture. And I sent it to you all, and I said, "This is me with this Ryder Cup team," and it says, "We had a good team on paper. Unfortunately, this game is played on grass."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's funny.
So,
anyways, we'll see how today
goes. Let's hope they can at least. I don't at this point expect to win, but let's at least make it interesting today.
Let's try. Regardless of what happens, USA all the way. It doesn't matter.
Right. But it
is at the end of the day, it is a country versus a whole continent. Let
us not get smoked within the first 5 matchups already, and let it be over. Okay.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see Rory and Scotty play.
Yeah.
The fans are absolutely going to give him hell versus Scotty. It's not even going to be fun for Rory. But I tell you what, if there was ever, actually he did say out loud, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Told fans, "Shut the fuck up." It goes to show how good Rory actually is to be able to say that, get your emotions all high, and come back and put one within 5 feet. If there was ever a suck on that and shut the fuck up, that was it. He could have just done that and not didn't have to say anything. So I give him credit for that, but it is what it is.
True.
Anyways,
but